great day and big welcome to you. My name is Ada Ad Astra, and this is Unconventional Counseling, the podcast. Professionally, I'm a queer counselor, and I specialize in identity work, infusing spirituality into the work that I do. I'm a supporter of queer, trans, non-binary, agender, gender-expansive, open-minded, creative, big-hearted, Black, Indigenous, POC individuals who seek to form their own spiritual frameworks, live their lives from a heart-based place, believe in themselves, follow their dreams, and build the communities that they have always dreamed of, rooted in their ancestral abundance. Carving out lives, the likes of which their inner children could only have ever dreamed. I am myself everywhere, on this platform and everywhere else, so anticipate some unconventional counseling. You may walk away feeling lighter, realizing that there is something yet to be healed within, feeling your feelings even more. You may walk away feeling seen, validated, encouraged, or even a little frustrated, perplexed, or a bit annoyed. Just like counseling. Just like relationship. You tend to get more or different than what you thought you might when you walked in. Trust the process, as all of them old white therapists that I learned from in therapy school used to say. And if at any point you get really activated, triggered, or overwhelmed, just pause this podcast. Focus on your breath. And keep it moving. My intention is not to push a trigger point or activate you unnecessarily or to create overwhelm in your system. But I want to acknowledge that this may happen. So I'm going to be my full self, and I invite you to be yours. Sometimes two folks or multiple folks showing up in their fullness, fully embodied, it can be a lot. Just know, whatever happens, it's okay. Take a break if you need to for as long as you need to, and return another time if you'd like. I'll be here, or somewhere in the world, still being myself if you choose to engage again. I have been told that I have a way with words, a soothing voice, a quick mind, a big heart, and I also have an interest in sharing parts of my healing journey vulnerably and in service of your growth and evolution, and in service of mine. My ultimate desire and intention is for us to be in community and to co-create something that we have yet to ever see. So here's your personal invitation and your exclusive invitation to world build with me. May you receive whatever you need most at this time on your journey, and remember that you are lovable, wise, and worthy just by being you. Hey there, legendary souls. Just so you know, that's your name. I name everything and everyone that I love. My plants have names. Parts of my body have names. My partner has so many different nicknames from me. The people that I hail from in this lifetime, Nigerians, they put so much emphasis, we put so much emphasis in naming our children, our community members, and I was taught that there is such a power in the names that we give and in the names that we choose. So you, who's listening, I consider you legendary. We hear so much in our culture about celebrity and rising to fame and being well liked. And I believe that impact is far more important than who likes us. And it took me truly my whole life to get to that place. And one of our elders, Maya Angelou, said, at the end of the day, people won't remember what you did or what you said. They will remember how you made them feel. making this space for you to think deeply, to laugh boldly, to feel and connect to what you feel. As you hear a member of your community sharing and loving themselves and sharing love with you, this space is for you to know that people like you exist. Also, have you seen you recently? Like really, have you looked in the mirror at yourself and not at the parts that you wish were different and not at the things that you would change, but have you looked in your eyeballs? There is this magnificent soul that lives within you. And that soul is capable of anything that they put their mind to. That soul is you. You are legendary. You are the stuff of fables and folklores, the heroes of the stories that make up your life. And you get to choose who you'll be. And you get to change your mind at any time. You're not boxed in. This is how you got your name. May you walk boldly within it, get acclimated to it, grow into it, and may you know that you are loved and that you are welcome here. Now that you know that you're loved and you're welcomed here, let's talk about grief. Because I've been feeling a whole lot of it. And I thought it's time that I share. So I have my Saturn in Aquarius, and I just finished my Saturn return just a few weeks ago. Whew, I am so proud of myself. Truly, so proud. Let me tell you, I can feel the difference. My Saturn return strongly encouraged me to come into a deeper relationship with grief than I had in my entire life. I learned that there are a lot of things you can grieve. Like a lot. And that grief takes up a lot of space in the body. I had pain, chronic pain that was new to me on my journey. In my hips, in my upper back, in my shoulders, in my head, in my feet, in my legs, in my thighs, you name it. At some points during this journey, it hurt so bad. All I could do was cry. Like, I'm here for crying. Crying is cool. But the level of powerlessness and helplessness that I had to get accustomed to was some of the most uncomfortable parts of grieving. There's so many different things to grieve. You can grieve time lost, time spent, potential unsatisfied, projects unfinished, roads not taken, timelines not chosen. You can grieve not going after your dreams. You can grieve when you do go after your dreams and it's not what you expected. You can grieve relationships ending. You can grieve starting new relationships but being a different person. You can grieve learning your parents' limitations and that they may never be the fictional character your inner children, your inner child wished that they were. You can grieve all the past exes and lovers and situationships, even though they weren't healthy. You can grieve not having the community that you want or that you deserve. You can grieve feeling lonely for a whole lifetime. You can grieve all the time you spent hating yourself and critiquing yourself and judging yourself because you didn't believe you were worthy. You can grieve all the connections where you didn't get what you needed because you didn't know what you needed. You can grieve all the times your boundaries were crossed before you even knew what the word boundary was. You can grieve seeing others follow their dreams and the doubt and the pain that comes up to keep you company as you wish that your path aligned with theirs. You can grieve divine timing. Grief has so many layers, and it definitely doesn't limit itself to stages. It's a lot more like a roller coaster that met a spiral in the dark, and you can't get off the ride, even if you tried. You can't get off early. It's full of loop-de-loops and spirals, and it usually goes too fast and too slow, all at the same time, and feels never-ending. You can't tap out until the ride has come to a complete halt, and you can't predict when it will. My journey to a deeper relationship with grief has been a defining chapter in my life. And I don't think it's over. My Saturn return broke my heart all the way open. Again and again and again. And every time I thought, you know what? This hurts too much. I'll just close down my heart. I'll just refuse to love again or be kind again. In those moments where I was so certain that giving up was the right thing, I would receive an opportunity to be present with someone, to hold space for someone, to hear someone out, to experience someone's vulnerability. I would receive a compliment, an act of kindness, or share a moment of laughter with someone. And every time, my eyes would well up with tears and I would cry. I would cry with relief that I could still feel joy or love or sadness or compassion. I would cry with the awareness that people are just people doing the best that they can, and sometimes missing the marks of their standards and the standards that other people have for them. I would cry in awe that so many people before me and so many people after me and so many people alongside me that I may never meet knew this feeling of open-hearted, tender grief too, and that they had this soft vulnerability that made life all the more vibrant, all the more scary, and all the more worth living. I would cry in confusion because I thought I was okay until I would start crying. And the tears would just roll out of me, and I would have flashes of times before, of folks in my life who were in this space of broken-hearted openness, and with whom I wasn't ready to meet there. I grieved these people. I grieved the endings of the relationships and connections with these people, and I was so proud of them, and I wished them well. I cried for all the things I didn't understand and that I may never understand. Grief helped unlock so much pain that was trapped in my body and helped it flow through tears. I used to think it was better not to cry so much. You know, I didn't want to be sensitive. I was a little non-binary tomboy kid. What were tears for? I didn't need that. I was playing with the boys. But I have always been sensitive. And my Saturn return drew me back to the sensitivity of my inner child. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be and to feel tender again, to feel more alive again. The best depiction that I've seen to date about grief in the media was in Wakanda Forever. Maybe in part it's because Chadwick Boseman is so well loved and folks have actually been grieving him since his passing. But watching the community members in the opening scenes, all dressed in white, celebrating his transition and dancing, knowing that he is in the great beyond, seeing his immediate family on screen walking somberly, and witnessing the range of emotions that each character held. It was the range of emotions I needed to see and to feel, to know on a deeper level what grief is all about. It's all of it. It is the feeling in the quiet moments with Queen Ramunda on a private island, being encouraged from her wisdom and experience that burning the garments that connect you to the person who is past, when you're ready, helps you move forward. It is the feeling that your vulnerability is out of place and that your lowered defenses may be a threat to your life when all your typical sensors don't go off as you're realizing that you're being watched by Namor or Kukulkan. It is the feeling of relentlessly pouring yourself into your purpose, your hobbies, your work, or anything that isn't your grief that Shuri did just to stay alive, just to not beat herself up for her brother's passing. It is the feeling of rage at yourself and at wanting to burn the whole world down that Shuri admitted to when she went to the ancestral land in her meditation, and surprisingly, to her, connected with Killmonger. It is the feeling of directness and vulnerability when Okoye says to Nakia that she missed her sister. When Nakia left Wakanda and Nakia responded that she had to leave. And she told her why. And the two just shared this moment of recognition, of knowing, of forgiveness. There was ease in that. Grief is all of it. It is the tenderness, it is the rage, it is the fear, it is the confusion, it is the vulnerability. And with Saturn in Pisces, it may be all of these things for you. Piscean energy knows a lot about grief and all the different ways that one can grieve. The little ways, the big ways, the hidden ways, the disenfranchised ways, the individual and isolated ways, and the ways that are recognized by our larger community and that we get to grieve with others. So Saturn is at home in Capricorn and in Aquarius. But in Pisces, Saturn is a bit out of place. Pisces is dreamy and intuitive, magical, and loves to escape the mundane reality. Whereas Saturn is all about rules and restrictions, limitations and boundaries. With Saturn in Pisces, I don't really know what's going to happen. How do you create rules for your dreams? How do you make room for boundaries in the way that you exist as pure magic? Do you seek liberation from the influence of the systemic responsibilities in your life? Do you accept that they're just there and feel your feelings about them? Do you resist? Do you carve a new path? I have no idea. But I trust that as a collective, we'll find out. What I want this to mean, Saturn in Pisces, I want this to mean that folks who have Piscean energy and who have their Saturn in Pisces will be on a journey for the next 2 to 3 years, liberating themselves from any belief that seeks to keep them constrained and dissociated from their full lived experience. I want this to mean that in the collective, many of us will be on a deeper journey to honor our intuitions, to love ourselves, to love one another, and to forgive ourselves for all the shit that never made sense. Even this podcast is connected to grief. The person that I thought would be my best friend for a very long time is no longer my best friend and is no longer my friend. The transition was painful, clunky, disappointing, and high in drama for me, because I felt the pain of every past friendship ending. I felt the little kid inside of me that just wants to play on the playground, that just wants to have a friend, that just wants to check in and root for each other. I felt the confusion of adult aspects, the complication of things I don't even fully understand, and I may not. I saw so many sides of myself that I typically try to hold back and control. I saw my anger. I saw my hurt. I saw my boundaries. Friendships mean a lot to me. They always have. And I think for lots of us, lots of queer folks, trans folks, non-binary and gender expansive folks, for creative folks, misfits, people of color, we know that we as individuals are not replaceable. And our connections can be so sacred and healing. They can be respites and refuges from the rest of the world that can be so freaking harsh and violent and scary. It hasn't been easy to grieve this friendship and all the past friendships and relationships that feel so connected to these feelings that I've been feeling. And the more that I've processed and the more that I've grieved, I've come to glimpses and moments of acceptance and of gratitude. And I can hold a space of gratitude and acceptance for longer stretches of time before I feel the deep sadness again. For that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that in the transition, there was a parting gift to myself in naming my boundaries and in being my full self. I'm grateful that my former friend also gave me a parting gift in naming what wasn't okay for her, in choosing herself. I'm grateful that I was compassionate and I was kind, and I expressed that I was disappointed and hurt and angry. I expressed it all unapologetically for the first time in my life, especially as there's an ending. I'd never shown someone else the fullness of me when I felt wronged or hurt or angry. And I feel so grateful that my friend heard all of this and chose what was best for her and still met me with compassion as we mostly mutually decided to end our friendship. I'm thankful to have faced this long-held fear that said that I couldn't be my full self. Because I now know that my Black, queer, non-binary love is a gift. And though I am still calling in my tribe of friends, I know that when they arrive in my life, it will be easy for them to honor and hold close this great love and authenticity that I have inside, and to meet me with their own. I hope that this podcast honors the great friendship that I had, and all of the creative potential that lay dormant within my former friend and I as collaborators. We had a podcast together. I hope that this podcast becomes something greater than what I can now see, and that it supports any and everyone who just needs a space to be. I hope that this podcast continues to unlock deeper levels to the pain and grief that I've held in my body, and that you've held in your body for far too long, and that we get to walk into a future with more levity and more freedom. I hope I get to meet you there. May you go in personal power. May you go with balanced love. May you receive and offer healing. And may you find something that makes you smile today. Ashe.